In nature, there are no values. Among animals, you will never see concepts like good, bad, or more complex values. The reason for this is that animals act purely on instinct. They continue to act based on whichever impulses evolved during their evolutionary process. This was not their choice. That's why it is called nature's choice. Good and bad are relative concepts and can be completely distorted or manipulated with different interpretations. For some, what is good may be bad, and for others, what is bad may be good. To determine whether a person is good or bad, we observe their actions. At this point, correct and incorrect actions take center stage. Cinema has often featured good, bad, and morally grey characters. How these are portrayed varies greatly depending on the director. However, as most would agree, the character type we call the anti-hero has gained popularity in the past century. Of course, its origins date back much further, like other character types. But the edits made by kids you see everywhere nowadays confirm this trend. So why did people suddenly become interested in anti-heroes? There are many answers to this question, but the underlying reason has always been the same. People got bored. They learned that humans are not simply white, but a mix of white and black. That's why anti-heroes are much more popular today. Are anti-heroes and morally grey characters the same? The answer to this question is somewhat complex. In cinema, grey characters are often secondary characters. What I'm trying to say is that not every grey character, even if it's the protagonist, is an anti-hero. This is because the incorrect actions of grey characters are entirely human. Anti-heroes, on the other hand, believe the bad things they do are actually right. Perhaps you've even sympathized with an anti-hero at some point. So, are villains and anti-heroes the same? Generally, yes. However, if you take a villain and make them the protagonist, they become an anti-hero. This is because they are now the main focus of the story. In most films, villains' goals are somewhat nonsensical. Of course, there have been villains with very logical goals who manage to make themselves compelling. The key factor here is the position the director places the character in. Grey characters are the ones who resemble us the most because they are, quite literally, us. They are flawed, not purely angelic, and have weaknesses. Sometimes they succumb to greed, and at other times they follow their conscience entirely. Tuco is one such character. This is why Sergio Leone focuses so much on him throughout the film. The director aims to highlight that, as the ironically titled, "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly" suggests. The good is not purely good, and the bad is not purely bad. The ugly character serves as a balance. After Tuco's first job with Blondie, he, like many others, gives in to greed and demands more money. Later, he is abandoned by Blondie in a barren wasteland. Like any human, Tuco seeks revenge and gives Blondie a taste of his own medicine. Tuco's backstory proves he is a well-written grey character. Up until his conversation with his brother Pablo, we are led to believe he is just a deceitful, self-serving, and opportunistic character who fits the definition of ugly perfectly. However, in his conversation with Pablo, we learn that Tuco didn't abandon his family, as we might have assumed. This moment reflects his ability to listen to his conscience and adds depth to his character. After this scene, the film continues, and Tuco reverts to his old ways, behaving like himself, always trying to double-cross Blondie whenever he gets the chance. Yet, like any human, he also acts honestly at times, such as when he reveals the name of the grave during the scene where they plant explosives on the bridge. This is why Tuco is a perfect portrait of a grey character.
Here you are. Here, this is for you. You did a good job for me. Worth $500.
Yeah. Almost forgot. He gave me 1,000. I think his idea was that I kill you. But you know the pity is when I'm paid. I always follow my job through. You know that.
No! Angeline!
In my opinion, the most charismatic character in the film is the villain, Angel Eyes, the embodiment of pure evil. Unlike a villain written specifically to take the spotlight, Angel Eyes is far from that. Everything he does serves his own purpose. What makes him so legendary is his gravitas and the way he has become an iconic character.
Glad they got him. A man guilty of all those crimes.
People with ropes around their necks don't always hang.
His very first appearance says it all. He mercilessly slaughters a family without a shred of guilt, using the money he receives from the man he kills as an excuse. He also kills Baker. Of course, his motivation lies in obtaining the large sum of missing money. He continues to resurface throughout the film, but as I mentioned earlier, his role feels almost like a guest appearance. He is a character who truly lives up to his name.
Right. It's getting tougher. The way I figure, there's really not too much future with a sawed-off front like you.
What do you mean?
Because I don't think you'll ever be worth more than $3,000.
What do you mean?
I mean, our partnership is untied. Oh, no.
Wait.
Not you. You remain tied. I'll keep the money and you can have the rope.
You filthy double-crossing bastard! Of all the stinking dirty tricks!
Way back to town is only 70 miles. You know, if you save your breath, I feel a man like you could manage it. Adios.
You filthy bastards! Come here! Come here! Cut this rope off! Get off that horse! Get off that horse! You filthy cunt! If I ever catch you, Blondie, I'll rip your heart out and eat it! I'll skin you alive! I'll hang you by your thumb! You pig! You vulture! I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
Such ingratitude after all the times I've saved your life.
Now, let's talk about the good character. During filming, Tuco called him Blondie, and Sergio Leone liked it so much that the nickname made it into the film. Similarly, the name Angel Eyes was also first used by Tuco on set. The good character, Blondie, is charismatic, handsome, and for years has seemed like a truly just character. However, unlike Angel Eyes, Blondie is not purely good. Does the fact that the good character isn't purely good make him a grey character? No, because Blondie is a unique type of character. We all know Jack Sparrow, and we'll get to him later. Johnny Depp's portrayal falls into the category of a self-serving good character. Self-serving good characters are technically closer to grey, but only act good when it serves their interests. For example, when Blondie first appears in the film, Tuco is surrounded by bounty hunters and is on the verge of being captured. Blondie steps in and saves Tuco. For Tuco, this is a good thing, but for the bounty hunters, it's bad. If Blondie were a purely good character, he would have turned Tuco over to the authorities, collected his reward, and moved on. Instead, Blondie, being a self-serving good character, kills the bounty hunters trying to capture a criminal. This shows that even the good character has elements of bad in him. Later, Blondie delivers Tuco for the bounty, only to rescue him again, starting a scam where the two criminals work together to make money. When Tuco proposes a larger share for himself, claiming he's the one with the noose around his neck, a claim that's valid to some extent, this doesn't sit well with the self-serving Blondie. So he abandons Tuco in the middle of the desert, 40 kilometers from the nearest town. Now, who's the real bad guy here? Tuco eventually gets his revenge, but Blondie, by chance, learns the name of the grave from Bill Carson, essentially securing his survival. In the scene where they plant dynamite on the bridge, Blondie lies again. He continues to manipulate the situation until the very end. By the time of the duel, Blondie has already planned everything in his head and ensured the outcome will be in his favor. Of course, the winner is him, so Blondie, the good, isn't actually all that good.
You're joking, Blondie. You wouldn't play a joke on me like that.
It's no joke, it's a rope, Tuco. I want you to stand up there and put your head in that noose.